Hey, this week Westward put out an update from the next two drill holes that they received from the first drilling ever at this campfire target in Nevada. And Campfire is located in the on the Toy Abbey Hills project. It is near the Cortez district, which is a prolific Carlin type district in north central Nevada. Uh, do not forget that the entire Carlin camps that we know and love. This would be the Carlin Trend itself and in this Cortez area and in other parts of Nevada have all been consolidated here recently. Not when I say recently, I guess it's 5 or 6 years ago. But Newmont and Barrick combined forces, and they have a joint venture that's operated under what's called Nevada Gold Mines that it operates the Cortez district. And this property happens to fall along what was perceived to be off trend, but within that prolific district. But now we've demonstrated. I'm telling you, this is the significance of this intercept, even though it's skinny, is very, very important because we've demonstrated significant gold, 3.1 meters, 2.5 gram per ton gold for the first time ever in this area. This is a brand new discovery. People say, "Oh my gosh, that's not very long. It's not very high grade." The folks who know these systems, people in northern Nevada, a lot of folks contacted us right away. They were like, "Oh my gosh, there is actually gold. There's lower plate. There's all the ingredients we look for, a significant Carlin system in this area for the first time." And if you think about our approach, it's been to drill wide space holes. I am a director of the company. I forgot to disclose that at the beginning. But look, we put out a video. The team at Westward's done a very good job of trying to communicate the significance of this finding. We did a video a few days ago. You can see the link of it there in the middle of this slide, and you can watch it at your own time. Just for note, a lot of the folks that work here are people I've known for many years. These are very smart guys like Kelly and Steve and Rob, who I've worked with before, way back, 30 years ago, even in Newmont and Barrick and so forth. So you have about the smartest team in the world when it comes to Carlin type systems, and these guys know what they're doing. And let's talk about what they're trying to accomplish or what we tried to accomplish this year. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so this image shows the property position over the Toyabe Hills area. There was a little mine to the west. That Toyabe Saddle Mine was operated, I don't know, several decades ago. It's probably 30, 40 years ago. So there was a small Carlin-like deposit just west of our property, and the Cortez area would be to the northeast from here, quite a ways. This is perceived to be well off trend. It's maybe 8 or 10 miles, up to the Cortez Hills mine, something like that, further to the northeast. But this piece of ground, as I've talked about in previous episodes of the video, this is a critical piece of ground that I think has rafted away or broken off from the main trend. And I think it hosts a sizable chunk of prospective lower plate hunting ground. Okay, now why do I say that? Well, that data that you see in the background, that very pretty colored data, is basically showing us gravity data. So it's basically showing us that there is a block of rock underneath this area that seems to have a bit higher density. Well, that's characteristic of lower plate rocks, of the carbonates that we're looking for. Okay, so there's really good geophysical data that says, hey, there's a missing block of rock here. When I say missing, I mean part of the greater lower plate window that we have at Cortez seems to have broken off, and it is underneath this area. And we developed this target. You can see it's shown in the circles here through various geophysical techniques. So ZTEM, for example, defines two anomalies, kind of circular in area. But it's really the entire block here that's underlain by this gravity anomaly. And so I consider the entire thing part of the overall campfire target. And we've drilled a number of holes this year. We've released now 4. Okay, so holes 1, 2, 3, 4, which are shown in kind of a teal blue. I kind of use the colors to help highlight them so they're easier to see. I think the news release had just plain X's or something. Anyway, I've put teal dots there to show the holes that have been assayed now. And then the purple holes are holes that we have yet to get assayed. So we're going to see assays come from this program that we're doing this year, or did this year. Hole 10, which is the furthest east, it's kind of in the middle of the purple dots there on the east side, on the right-hand side. That one is in progress. It's nearing completion. Look, this is where it gets interesting. In fact, it got so interesting that I went out to Nevada to see drilling when they were in the middle of around hole 4, I think it was. And you'll see by the assays why. Okay, they started to see some very interesting rock. Now, holes 1 and 2 didn't deliver much. They didn't have much, but holes 3 and 4, guess what? They have our first signs that there's a big gold system here. Now you say, well, gee, these polka dots look close together. They're not. Okay, these holes are 500-600 meters apart. If you look at the scale over here on the left-hand side, that's 1 kilometer. Okay, so these drill holes, we basically drilled wide space drill holes across the entire target area. Think of it like casting a net out. Okay, and this is what I think you have to do in Carlin systems these days. To test for these blind systems, you just got to drill wide space holes as a first go and see if you hit something. It's like fishing for a whale. Okay, you've got to think the scale of a whale to find a whale. So we've basically drilled wide space holes here to try to snag or jag just a little bit of gold or something somewhere. And we did. It's astounding. Okay, so not only have we demonstrated, yes, there's lower plate rocks here, we've demonstrated there is gold in those. So we're going to look at the next 2 slides, which show the traces of holes 3 and 4 and the anomalous metal that we're seeing in these holes, which could be leading us into a new discovery. Okay, go to the next slide. All right, so what are we looking at here? We're looking at the drill trace. Over here on the right-hand side, you can see the drill hole and the rocks that were encountered. So the colors represent different rocks. The browns and oranges that you see towards the top are upper plate rocks. They're rocks that we call silicious. They're basically considered unfavorable for hosting Carlin-type systems. They can host anomalous metal, like arsenic in particular, or antimony, or mercury, like you're seeing here in these little histograms that are with the purple, blue, green, and yellow lines. But you tend not to get much in the way of gold up there. Maybe a little bit of anomalous gold. But it's the blue section, which is the lower plate. Those are the carbonate rocks that we so keenly target in the whole Cortez area as well as the Carlin area. We're trying to find those lower plate rocks to find the suitable host for gold mineralization. And anytime you hit gold in lower plate rocks, you got to take it seriously. And in this case, in hole 3, we hit, as you can see down there in the gold line, we hit a narrow but significant interval of gold. We're talking 640 ppb, maybe 695, and it's over just a few, like 10, 20 feet or something like that. Can't read the numbers, but it is significant for Nevada. This is appreciable gold. Notice it occurs coincident with arsenic, as well as an elevated zone in antimony, and mercury, and these are characteristics of Carlin systems. Okay, so this is our first whisper, if you will, of gold in this area. Really, I think this demonstrates the first evidence that we have that there is significant gold. Okay, but it gets better. Let's go to the next hole to the east from 3, which is hole number 4, and look at this chart. Now we're starting to see some grades pick up. Okay, again, upper plate, lower plate. So you can see we drilled down through the upper plate to get into those lower plate rocks. And as soon as we got into the lower plate rocks, guess what we saw? We saw appreciable gold, in this case, high assays of 2.086 gram per ton, and then 2.9, almost 3 gram per ton in one interval there. Those are really good numbers. Okay, and overall, I think there's about 10 meters or so of about just under a gram in that interval. That's more than anomalous in Nevada. This is starting to show us that we're in a system. I mean, a real bona fide Carlin type system. Again, we're casting a wide net. What does this mean? Well, it means that maybe somewhere in this neighborhood, we will find that magical, gold rush type target. What does that mean? Well, the gold rush system and some of the other systems in this area are kind of flat tabular things. and they're anywhere from 10 to 20 meters thick, and they grade 8, 10, 15 gram gold per ton. It would be very easy to see the gold grades as we continue eastward or maybe northward or even southward from this area into those areas where we have more purple holes. Bear in mind we have lots of assays coming back, and we might see even better grades by the end of the day. So this is our first indication: multi-gram gold in a Carlin system. We're doing good science, stepping into this system with a big, wet, wide net, casting it, and we're seeing gold, arsenic, antimony, mercury. We're seeing all the bells and whistles over a very discrete part of the wind band section in the lower plate rocks. I think this is an amazing new discovery. People in Nevada told us right away, holy smokes, you've got gold over in the Campfire area, in the Toyabe area. Yes, this is a new discovery, guys. Now, it could take on different shapes. There's the flat tabular deposits, like I talked about at Gold Rush. Finding a sheet-like deposit like that would be a wonderful outcome. You could find a few, maybe 10, 20 million tons of half an ounce or something like that. That's certainly a viable target in this country. But there's also other targets too, like the Cortez Hills deposit is more of a vertical or chimney-like deposit. And we might be near something like that too. Okay, time will tell. We're doing more. We've got more holes to come through the lab, but we're doing hole 10, for example. We've seen notable changes as we go eastward in our drill array that tell us something's warming up. Okay, I think just my queasy gizzard says there's more news to come out of this story. We'll be very anxious to see more assays come back. Let's go.